but we have a top 10 list every week.
I'm going to go ahead and stop you right now. And the reason I'm going to stop you is you publicly said this is not your area. And so I'm going to go ahead and let everybody know that not only are the Yankees the best boy band in baseball, but we have a top 10 list of boy bands. The very best boy bands. And by the way, I hate that our producer is not here because she wrote the list with very little input from the two of us.
Yeah, half of them I haven't even heard of half of them, to be honest with you.
So what we're getting at is we are probably going to be the producer's piss segment next week for our coverage here. But we are going to do our very best to give you a top 10 worthy of Ms. Allison Faye. Get better, honey. We love you. We mean it. So Terry, let's talk boy bands. By the way, the reason we did this, ladies and gentlemen, is it's going to be May. So,
and it's May 1st today.
And it's May 1st.
And apparently it was New Kids on the Block Day a few days too. I don't know. A few days
well,
ago,
Allison will tell you every day is New Kids on the Block Day. And she's wrong, but we'll get there when we get to the boy band royalty. But we're not there yet. So Terry, because you know and I do not, who is number 10?
Number 10, New Edition. And boy, I picked a really young picture of these guys. You see Bobby Brown doing some karate moves here. New Edition. I mean, when I was really young when New Edition really came out.
Bobby Brown's the only one I know in the whole band. I mean, these guys are off my radar, and I know him for the wrong reason because he was abusive as hell to Whitney.
You got Belle Biv DeVoe in here, right? So Bobby Brown and Belle Biv DeVoe and Keith Sweat. I don't know. This is guesses.
Yeah,
I'm just guessing. I may have nailed it. I may be way off. That's my recollection.
So New Edition's contemporaries, of course, to several other bands of the 80s that were probably on this list. But as you can see, they're all African American. So that group mentality, you're starting to see the Jackson 5, you see New Edition, you see several others. And so that's kind of where you're seeing this. Now, again, Bobby Brown, the only reason I know him is Whitney Houston. And that's the only reason I know anything out of New Edition. So I will plead ignorant because this is not a boy band by my definition. But again, sing, dance, group, harmonies, etc. We didn't really put the criteria out there. We said, let's do boy bands. Allison said, I got this. She gave us the list, and we really don't argue with her. So.
Well, let me say this. Go look up Mr. Telephone Man and tell me this is not a boy band. That's going to be the only song that I remember.
That's fair.
That's going to be a theme of this list. I'm going to say, yeah, I probably remember a few songs, but I'm not going to be able to tell you the names of them.
So, Allison, go ahead and fire at me with New Edition next week on The Producer's Pissed.
Number 9, the Jonas Brothers.
There you go. And, of course, the most popular of the three, Nick Jonas. But the Jonas Brothers make their Disney debut. They go in the group singing, and then, of course, they all break away, and they kind of do their own thing. Nick Jonas, hell of a voice.
Yeah.
Hell of a voice.
Yeah, and I used to watch their Disney, because I've got a daughter that is 21. I've got a son that's 17, and I've got a son that's 11. We've watched a lot of these shows, the Disney Channel kind of stuff. So a lot of these younger stars I've seen on their Disney shows. And the Jonas Brothers had their own show. They also have a younger brother that wasn't in the band. I don't remember his name, but he was on the show. And it was pretty entertaining for what it was.
Right.
And they're talented.
They're very talented, and they've got several hits, and it's poppy, beepy music. It's nothing deep. It's not anything god awful and terrible. Of course, like I said, Nick Jonas broke away from the other two brothers, kind of went on his own singles career. Arguably more successful because he had a couple of bigger hits, but definitely. not necessarily the dogs are coming in, so that's what we're seeing.
Keep them away from the wires.
Yeah, keep them away from the wiring today. But the Nick Jonas, like I was saying, Change, Jealous, several other songs. He was married, I believe, to a Brazilian supermodel at one point. If he still is or isn't, I don't know. But yeah, good band. And this is what I would call more of a prototypical boy band. So
They actually played guitar pretty well. So this is where you start having the gray area because boy bands you usually think are a group of 4 or 5 guys up dancing
yep,
and singing.
yep.
And that's not necessarily what they did, but maybe if your criteria is good-looking young guys with girls screaming, then you start including them.
Well, they put a lot of asses in the seats, Terry, and you know it.
They did. Number 8, One Direction.
There you go.
Definitely a boy band. Harry Styles is the only one I can name here. I don't know any of the rest of them. I don't know that I know any of their music. They're a little newer, so that makes sense.
Yeah, they're
Probably
like
do
that
better.
poppy alternative, where it's not like 90s alternative we were talking about earlier, like Sublime or Offspring and that sort of thing, but it's kind of an alternative to it's an alternative to what you hear from the boy bands, particularly when we're talking again, we'll get there, the boy band royalty of the late 90s and early 2000s. I would say that One Direction is a boy band for sure. And again, Harry Styles, just that's going to be a common theme as we talk about these bands. There's going to be one guy typically that breaks away from the rest of the pack. You just said Bobby Brown. Who was the last band? I apologize, Terry. Who did we just see?
Now you're
Jonas
challenging
Brothers.
me.
Jonas
Yeah,
Brothers,
Nick
excuse me.
Jonas, yeah.
So we saw Bobby Brown, you saw Nick Jonas, you've got Harry Styles. That's my point. They start as a group, and a lot of times you'll see them break out and to become a bigger single star.
Yep. And One Direction fits that mold.
Yep. And they
And
sing and they dance and they have a good time. So there you go.
And the girls scream.
And the
'cause
girls
They're
scream.
all hot.
And so do
Number
the guys.
7, The Beach Boys.
Oh,
Here's
for
one
God
out
in
of left
heaven's sake.
field.
Wow. Wow. I know who voted this number one. I won't be naming any names, Dave, in the HSV. Okay, so I don't think the Beach Boys is a boy band. Boy band to me
Hey,
is a maybe 80s because I know our producer is all about the new kids, but it is not a 60s phenomenon
I don't think they
because
danced at all. I think dancing's a big part of boy bands.
almost every part too of the boy bands or almost every band, excuse me, in the 60s were boys. They were men. There weren't a lot of women, or there were not as many women as there are today in some of these bands. Because when you think about the classic bands, the Doors, the Stones, the Eagles, Led Zeppelin, none of them have women. None of them. Now they have women backup singers, like the Rolling Stones. I forget her name off the top of my head, but she sings Gimme Shelter, and she sings it with Jagger, and she's the female vocalist on that particular song and has been for 20 whatever years. She's phenomenal. Never mentioned, never credited. It's
Right.
always Jagger and Wood and Watts and the rest of them. Keith Richards. But my point is, during the 60s, if it wasn't Mamas and the Papas, or it wasn't Stevie Nicks, if it wasn't Janis Joplin, they were men. They're all men. So boy band phenomenon to me is my age and older or younger. As you start to get in the mid 80s to 90s is when you see the boy band phenomenon. And to your point, did the Beach Boys dance? And did they do choreographed dancing? Because that's
I
the
don't
other
think
element of being a boy band.
I don't think they did.
So Dave, you're wrong, but it made the list. And apparently we had a lot of let's put this out front too, Terry, because I might have forgot this. thank you to all who participated. This is probably one of our most participated in polls and highly contested as to who is the best boy band. So
Or if
we
they're
do
boy
thank
bands at all. Yeah,
all of our listeners
we
legitimately,
absolutely do. Let me
because
tell you who we don't think. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say I saw interaction everywhere,
Yeah, it was good.
comments,
Comment.
likes,
Yeah.
everything, and we appreciate the shares, all of that. So please do it every week, not just when we talk about boy bands.
We'll try to get it out in front of your face also. I texted some of my friends and they're like, "What? You have a podcast?" I'm like, "Man, I'm not doing a very good job." But here's who I don't think. I've said Peter from the poll website did some good things for us in the past because we had an issue. He let me down this time. I asked him a
Uh,
question. He basically just said, "Nope, we don't do that. Sorry." And that was it. So screw you, Peter. Number
mm.
6, the Jackson 5.
A
They
B
choreo
C
they
1, 2,
choreographed
3.
some dances, and Michael was definitely a child here. Some of his older brothers, not quite.
But even
Okay,
back then, Michael was the star.
absolutely.
It's undeniable. And Michael would go on to be the star. He'd go on to be a tragic story. He'd go on to be maybe a pedophile. I don't think they ever proved anything. That whole Wonderland, though, get off me. But to the topic at hand, I had initially pushed back that I didn't think they were a boy band. I think they do qualify, at least more so than the Beach Boys.
Yeah, I can say
Music,
that for
look,
sure.
choreography,
There's
you
definitely
know.
choreography.
And again, because I don't know all the Beach Boys members, one standout in this band who goes on to have a bigger career without them.
Definitely, definitely. They
And
let
that
the
is
girl out.
undeniable.
Yeah,
That's undeniable. Billie Jean, Thriller, you know, Heal the World, all of it.
beat it.
Yeah. My sister, my older sister, the middle one, loved Michael Jackson. Um, so I'm
I
very
had
familiar
parachute
with.
pants when I was in kindergarten.
Did
Let
you?
me just say that. Yeah, I
I
definitely
had
did.
MC Hammer pants, buddy.
MC
Can't
Hammer is
touch
not
this.
on this list because he was
Can't
only
touch
one.
this. No, he'll be the one hit wonders. He'll be on Can't Touch This for that.
Oh,
Uh,
that's a good one. One hit wonders. Ooh, I have to think about that.
Vanilla Ice, MC Hammer. I could name them all. Let's go. Move on to the next one before we ruin the next poll.
Number 5. Let's argue again. It's the Beatles.
They are not a boy band. They're not a boy band. This is the
See,
British invasion. This is the face of Europe. This is the people in America that feel good up till Revolution #9. This is not a fucking boy band.
so this gets back into the same thing I was talking about. What they do have here that you would expect from a boy band is mostly good looking. I can't speak for Ringo here. Um, and girls flocking to them. But no choreographed dancing, like we said. They're playing instruments like crazy. I agree. I don't see this as a boy band.
Don't think it's a boy band. Number one selling band in the world, yes. Not a boy band.
Number 4, Boys to Men.
Wouldn't have called them a boy band.
Now this gets into like boy band versus R&B group. They're not dance. I mean, how much dancing did Boys to Men do?
I don't know, but they could
Honestly,
sing
don't
their
know.
asses off.
They can, and I love them. And honestly, I might have voted them number 1. I don't even remember, but I love me some Boys to Men. I can probably say of all the bands on this list, I'm listening to more Boys to Men than any of the rest of them.
Well, that's a shame because the next three are what I refer to, and I haven't seen this list, folks, but if this
But you know,
isn't,
3 are.
it better be, and I'm not going to give the order, but it better be the New Kids on the Block, it better be NSYNC, and it better be the Backstreet Boys. And that's what I refer to as boy band royalty. But okay, on the topic of Boys to Men, before we go any further, amazing vocals, incredible harmonies, which are part of what you see in boy bands. I just would never call Boys to Men a boy band.
No, I don't think so either.
And I just wouldn't. Okay. Number 3, Terry, do not hurt my feelings.
Number 3, New Kids on the Block.
There you go. I knew it. I knew it. She's going to be pissed off at us because we didn't pick
can
the
be.
right stuff. But yeah,
And
New
they're
Kids
really
on the
old,
Block.
so I didn't even have a really good clear picture. So this is the worst quality of all the pictures. That's how old
That's
this band is.
yeah. So that Donnie Wahlboga, that's her favorite. She says, "In Donnie we trust." The producer will be upset with all of us because they did not win. I will say they are a boy band.
Without a doubt.
Step by Step, The Right Stuff, poppy music, Girls Gone Wild, not that Girls Gone Wild, choreographed music, singing, harmonies. Oh, and by the way, something we didn't necessarily talk about, might be a boy band, but still universally loved. And New Kids on the Block is still touring.
Mm.
So,
Okay. I'm not following that tour.
Allison is August the 1st. She'll be in Virginia Beach to see the New Kids on the Block.
And I'm sure we'll hear all about it. And she'll come rip into us after she goes. We'll hear all
Oh
about
yeah, you know she's going to.
Number 2.
Number
what's your
2, because
prediction here?
this is where the debate gets feisty. Let's go, Terry.
NSYNC.
Oh, my boys did win. So NSYNC.
You don't know that yet.
Oh, I know they did.
It could
It's gonna be.
Menudo.
It's gonna be May right here, front and center. Justin Timberlake, Lance Bass, and the rest. Timberlake, obviously, I would make this point of everybody, with maybe the exception of Michael Jackson, biggest breakout star of any of the bands we're going to talk about. JT has had a hell of a singles career. And he's gone on to do quite well for himself individually. Married Jessica Alba, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty sure it's Jessica Alba. So did well there.
Yes.
Best friend to Jimmy Fallon. So it's a lot of fun they have. But bye. It's gonna be me. I mean, this is a boy band. And what does it, 5-part harmony, choreographed dancing, Girls Gone Crazy, and again, 30 years later, we're still talking about NSYNC, the boy band.
And the moment of truth, and nobody should be surprised. The Backstreet Boys, number 1.
Because I want it that way. Terry, the Backstreet Boys win again. Obviously, the boy band. Aaron Carter leads the charge here. And again, 30 years later, we're still talking about him. Choreographed singing, dancing. Now, you may be too old for this. Don't take that the wrong way, because you're only a few years older than me. But there were NSYNC guys and gals, and there were Backstreet Boys guys and gals. And typically, you were not both. You were one or the other. For me, it's barely the Backstreet Boys, because I will be honest with all of our audience, as I always have been, I listen to both these bands on a weekly basis. Definitely hit the workout mix. Don't even care if it's the feel-good mix. I hear them in the office because we'll just hit random play on the Amazon player. I hear them all the time. And
All right.
Backstreet back, all right.
I think I may have bought a Backstreet Boys CD at Walmart at one point, but me not even remembering if I did should tell you how much focus I had on that.
Well, they appreciate the money. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you for paying the royalties. But no, that's a great list. A lot of fun. The top 3, you can have all the rest. It could be debatable. Our people got the top 3 right. Now, whether you agree they're 3, 2, 1, those are the top 3 boy bands when you think boy bands.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, there's some others that 98 Degrees was not in the top 10. That's a band that I consider a boy band. LFO.
Hanson had that one-hit wonder, though. They had MMMBop. I mean,
That's
nobody
right.
else remembers any of their other songs, so they might end up
Summertime
on the
Girls
one-hit
from
wonder
LFO.
list.
I remember I did buy the LFO CD.
Yep.
I like Summertime Girls, but all right, here's the top 10.
Oh,
Let's run
and
it
5
down.
Seconds of Summer didn't make it on.
Yeah, that's one I don't know.
They're the ones that sing Youngblood. They sing Youngblood, and they sing I forget how it goes. Standing there in my American Eagle underwear. I don't care, blah blah blah. I can hear the tune. I
If you
can't think
say
of it
so,
though.
I have no clue.
But anyway, yeah, so I would say that yeah, that's a great list. I apologize, I'm rambling. That's a
No,
great
no, no,
list,
no. That's fine.
but there were bands that were left off, and there are bands that do not belong on this list, ladies and gentlemen. I will stand
That's right.
on the Beatles and the Beach Boys and Boys to Men are not boy bands.
But we put the power with the people listening and the people voting. So if we found a list that listed somebody as a boy band, we went ahead and threw them in here. We knew there would be debate, but we love debate. We love comments correcting us because you're not really correcting us. We're just giving you the options. But we put it in your hands, and this is the top 10. New edition at number 10. The Jonas Brothers at number 9. Number 8 was One Direction. 7 was the Beach Boys. The Jackson 5 at number 6. The Beatles at number 5. Boys to Men at number 4. And the top 3 are New Kids on the Block, NSYNC, and the top spot goes to the Backstreet Boys. Fun list. Really hate that the producer was not feeling well because she really would have enjoyed the discussion here and she would have yelled at us for our opinions. I'm sure she's getting it stored up and she'll let us have it next week.
Well, she's got that New York temper, so I'm not worried about that part and that her boys lost. She'll probably feel the same way I did about Coffee. And what was the one that we lost to? Number 5. You guys voted at number 5, and it wasn't close.
Bacon?
No, it wasn't
Oh,
Bacon, but
Bacon won, did it?
Coffee on the Food. But then the poll before that, my
Oh,
team came in number 5, and everybody else was wrong after that.
yeah, I got no clue.
I can't
I don't
remember.
remember. I can't remember 2 weeks ago. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I can't. I don't remember what it was. Whatever poll we did or whatever we did, it was.
Was it a wrestling thing?
I don't think so. Mine was number 5 though,
Hmm.
and everybody else was wrong after the fact.
Oh, games? Game
Oh,
shows?
game shows. Yeah, it was Press Your Luck.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's right. Yep. So she'll learn how how it feels when your people let you down. Because I was very disappointed in our fans, and I was disappointed in you and her for allowing Coffee to be on the breakfast list. Because
That's my
I'm
breakfast
having
every day.
I'm having coffee for more than just breakfast. Okay.